5 of their last 6 matches. Hull, on the other hand, made a terrible start, but they've won 8 league games in a row. So it's a cock-a-hoop Hull team that comes here hoping to bolster a late championship challenge. Well, this is how the league table looked at the end of October. Hull then were rock bottom. But this is how it looks today. The early birds have flown into 4th place, overhauling Salford in the process. Well, their rise has been masterminded by Australian coach Brian Smith, who's a great ambassador off the pitch as well as on it.
This is David Moon. Mark, have you met him before?
How you go, Mark?
You know Craig? Craig goes to all our games, don't you, mate?
All matches.
All the matches, every one of them. Hull FC through and through.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I want to know who's the Hull player trying to take my job at the microphone. All will be revealed later. Well, amid all the ballyhoo surrounding rugby union signings, Salford snapped up one of their own, almost unnoticed. But Steve Curry from Preston Grasshoppers is doing. The Australian halfback Craig Coleman, one of his recent tries came against the old enemy, Hull KR.
Well, he's a big-hearted player whose lack of inches doesn't deter him from taking on defences and scoring tries. A good tactical kicker whose kicking turns defence into attack. He's an inspirational scrum half who shows great composure and vision at the base of the scrum and has been largely responsible for Hull's run of victories.
Here is the Hull lineup. Richard Price is away on international duty, so Adrian Bullock, who scored on his debut 2 weeks ago, gets another chance on the wing. With Lee Jackson unfit with a hip injury, Phil Windley steps in at hooker, and Steve Crooks comes in for David Boyle, who's gone home to Australia. Black shorts and stockings, with the white band across the top, who kick off against the Red Devils here at the Willows. Good pitch conditions. This is Steve Herbert. Good ball slip there from Shaw to Gibson. Well, David Watkins, Hull really on the crest of a wave in recent weeks, and this is a stern test for Salford at the moment.
It is. They've lost 5 games and they'll be needing to establish themselves now rather than be in relegation trouble. And of course, Hull, with 8 victories on the trot in the league, are obviously looking forward to having or clinching a top 4 spot.
Well, he's found touch. So they play the ball. It's Shaw. It wasn't really good passing that. The marking from Hull excellent, and Hull's defensive record this season has been very good. They've always been known as a tight defensive side, and they've not been giving many points away in recent weeks. And here's their captain, Dane O'Hara, the Kiwi. Wilby. Good to see Tim Wilby playing in the second row. Of course, he's a former centre in the game, but seems to have adapted quite well.
He does, and he's obviously aided them in their bid to climb back up the table. But they're going to find it hard this afternoon, and Hull are riding on the crest of a wave, and their defence, as you say, was admirable last week against Castlewood in the first round of the Challenge Cup.
And that tackle rather too high for the liking of referee Holdsworth. The tackle on Gary Devorty was undoubtedly round the head. John Holdsworth, good to see him on scrum down again. Certainly one of the most respected officials in the game. Oh, the ball lost in the tackle there by Andy Dennett. So Salford have chances here. Cairns slips it back inside. Good tackling once more, but no, Horo keeps going. Still he's going, Horo. And it's taking Dana Hara, another New Zealander, to haul him back. This is better. Jones, Braga, Cairns, along the line is Shaw. And if they can whip that ball out left, there had to be a try. Hull were vulnerable out on that flank. There was a three-man overlap, but they couldn't get the ball over there. Moran, though, tries to get Blees in. Herbert. Well, desperate defending for Hull now. But it is a hallmark of their game. They've switched it left and asked Keith Bentley to do an awful lot here to try and get round on the outside. Just taken out in time by Adrian Bullock and Gary Devorty. Wilby. Three men straight in on Tim Wilby. Not a bad kick, but now watch Gibson go, because he can run this long raking stride of his, and just look how he twists his way in and out of the challenges. Braga couldn't hold the pass. Gibson is looking dangerous today.
Well, we did say we were looking forward to an exciting game, and it most certainly has started out that way. Both sides are out of the cup, and of course they have to consolidate their position in the First Division, and there's no doubt at all about it. The points to both these sides this afternoon, so important.
Penalty goes to the home side. Well, the first score of this game might be critical, David.
I think it will be most critical because both sides are trying to play. Although Hull are defending desperately, with the Salford side are prepared to move it out wide all the time as they're doing now.
They are indeed. Mercer had it in his hands again. Shaw tries to skip through three black and white Hull players. And again Shaw involved. Oh, and he sold a brilliant little dummy there. And referee Holdsworth awarding the penalty against Tim Wilby. And we were talking there about the first chance for points, and it's going to be Salford who have that opportunity through the boot of Steve Kerry. A couple of yards outside the 25, he's teed it up. But it's just drifted wide of that right upright, and it's gone down. Caught round the neck there, and that'll be a penalty against Horo. Well, high tackling, head tackling is the thing that referees want to stamp out, and Fred Lindop, who is now in charge of the referees, I know, is very keen on this one.
I think you've got to come down on it straight away. It's no good warning some, putting some in sin bins. Off they've got to go for it, and that is the only way that you'll stamp it out of the game.
Well, David, you've seen him kick a lot down in Wales in a rugby union shirt, and he's coming to rugby league as Pearce, and well, he's still potting them, yes.
Yes, he's a very accomplished goal kicker, and that'll do Hull a power of good, because Salford have come at them straight away. They've travelled the Pennines, they know what it's like. They have to settle down in front of a parochial Salford crowd, and that really, they've absorbed so much in defence, that really will give them a good start.
Now Shaw going for the gap, just couldn't get through it with Devorty and Sharp on him. And Hull's tackling is really excellent. Up straight away, and he forced him into that error just by his mere presence.
Well, that was good defensive play, because the men on the outside were coming up, driving everybody back into the middle of the field. If the defence all moves up together, you can knock them down.
Which is why Hull have had such a good recent record. Of course, when you are winning matches, the confidence flows.
Well, that's right. They'll be disappointed. Both sides will be evicted from the cup, but I mean, they really have to put in a good performance, and they really are playing like two well-matched sides this afternoon.
Although that was just a little pedestrian, the gap opened on the right, and for some reason they came back left. However, Wilby's here. Brooks. Coleman, that's a lovely little reverse ball, and again good tackling, this time on the Salford side though, by Steve Herbert. Windley gets the ball away for Sharp. Now Pearce, and they're keeping it going even on the last tackle. And Pearce is showing his sidestepping abilities. Fletcher, well, they've got to keep it going on this last tackle. Coleman, but real credit to Hull here for throwing this ball around and not killing it stone dead. Windley now hoists it, and he took the catch but then put a foot in touch, did Ken Jones? Yes, he did, and what he thinks. The touch judge was absolutely right. Fishwick was right on the job there. Hull's ball. Chances here. Pearson, Fletcher's up again. Trying to get past Gibson. Excellent tackle from Gibson. The two number ones have been the two most impressive men on the field so far. Pearce. You might have something to say about that. The pass is spilled by Blacker. But really, as I was just saying there, Fletcher for Salford and Gibson for Salford and Fletcher for Hull have had good starts to the match.
Yes, they have, and both sides have to be complimented on the enterprise they take. And although the defences are on top, both sides aren't shutting the game down themselves. They are trying to move the ball about and trying to weave patterns in defences.
Well, now, a penalty given there, and it was given initially to Salford, I think, and then as a result of something that happened down there on the floor, it's been reversed and the penalty goes to Hull, and it's a very silly thing for Salford to do in that position, because Gary Pearce has the chance now to send his team 4 points up. It's 2 out of 2 for him. 4-0 Hull lead. Action there involving the Australian David Moon. So he dropped the ball, unfortunately for him, in the tackle. Concede many points. They do have the ball, Salford now. Shaw, Cairns involved. Here's Gibson once more. Still gets it away for Shaw again in that tackle. Blease is the first man up. There's no way through for him. He didn't even make 5 yards there with 3 men around him. Storming run here from Horrow, though, and he's got support to his side from David Cairns. The little will-o'-the-wisp scrum half tears over between the sticks, and that really was good supporting play. Horrow's burst, Cairns' support. Salford have the game's first try.
Well, Salford have been on attack. They have to run straight. David Cairns feeds it out. Now look, this is straight running. Tackles go high. Golden rule, one low, one high. Cairns back up on his outside, and that's a marvellous try. They'll be well satisfied with that one. Horrow again coming through on the outside. Breaks the tackle. 2 go high. The golden rule must go low, doesn't. David Kearns, wise enough as a half-back, follows up his loose forward and canters in for a try. And what an important one.
And 2 more points to go with it from Steve Kerry's foot. Salford have the lead for the first time. Only his second try of the season. He doesn't get as many as he did in his days with Barrow, but he often gets them in important matches. Well, that's brought the crowd to life. They'd been a little bit muted in the first 25 minutes as the game had gone Hull's way with those 2 penalties, but now that Salford have their noses in front, the crowd are much happier.
Yes, they are. They are playing good football, Salford, and of course those 2 indisciplines cost them 4 points.
Oh, but look at this, the ball into the hands of the loose forward Devote, and there's a response straight away from Hull. Well, they're throwing it about all over, and I would have sworn that if Hull had gone, well, I'm sure 2 of them could have scored themselves there. First of all, Devote, and then I thought that Moon was going to get in. And they were rather too keen to throw that ball about then.
I think it's rather difficult when you're away from the scene. Players do have a habit of shouting in far worse positions, rather, than they should be in. As a result of it, instead of going straight for the line, you're always looking for support.
Oh, the pace of this game's terrific, but Gibson now spills a pass. Well, it was initially a kick from Salford which struck Devote, bounced in the air. He collected the rebound, and you'd have sworn he was going to be a scorer. But Salford do have a knack of scoring tries, and they've maintained their record here today.
Well, there's no lack of excitement or imagination in this game. Defences are good, and players are trying to work everything they can to break down the defence.
Cairns. Better for that. He's got a tackle in on Bentley, boost his confidence a little. Shaw, thought of the kick, clever, and that was really good thinking, and there's an overlap on that left-hand side, and the ball is squirted back, again Cairns involved, and now it's got into Wilby's hands. Play on, says the referee. Well, they've spurned another chance over on that corner.
Well, that was a marvellous break then by Paul Shaw. He kidded the defence he was going to kick, and he ran straight through a gap, and unfortunately his supports weren't quite as way as he was.
Good running here from Hull. Well, it's never relented. Intelligence as well. He's been watching Paul Shaw, I think. Good running from Sharp. Inside Wellham. That's the last tackle as Devote was held. 5 minutes to half-time, and both sides will welcome a breather. Oh, and it's knocked out of the hand, and another chance for Hull if the kick ahead is good here. There's got to be a chance for Hull. Straight between the sticks goes Brian Blacker. Takes the salute of the crowd. He actually played for Salford on loan last year. Scored on his debut against Hull KR. Bought recently from Barrow, and he's scored here for Hull.
Well, Hull fighting to get back in defence. Gibson on attack, loses the ball with that tackle. Wilby really punched it out of his hands. And alert as ever, number 4, Blacker picks the ball up. Kindly bounce, but what a turnaround of events. Hull trying to get back in. Blacker scores under the post.
And another simple conversion, really, for Gary Pearce. The game is turned on its head again. Hull regained the lead at a perfect psychological time just before half-time. 10-6.
Yes, it was a psychological blow as far as Hull was concerned. They tried to come into the game, they pushed the kick through, Blacker picks it up, He doesn't wait for anybody. He goes in, he knows it's important for him and Hull, and he crosses.
His 7th try of the season, 2 of them now for Hull. His previous 5 were for Barrow. And his 50th try in his career, so well done, Brian Blacker. A very professional performance by Hull. They just got caught the once by David Cairns, but apart from that, they've done very well.
Yes, sir, they've defended well because this Salford side has really been buzzing. They've been throwing everything forward in attack, and Hull have hung on, but they've hung on and taken their chances well, and that's good.
And Windley here hasn't looked out of place as a hooker. So it's a strange position for him. Pearce, the little kick ahead. Oh, and Gibson's in trouble again. It's been a strange sort of game for Steve Gibson. He started really impressively, and then over the last few minutes he's had 1 or 2 dodgy moments.
That's right, he came into that line there. It was a superb tackle of Wilbur's, took man and ball bounced out of course and presented Hull with an opportunity to which they gratefully accepted.
But I think we can anticipate a roaring second half. Just a couple of minutes of this first half to go, with Salford desperately trying to throw that ball around as Steve Herbert barges one away. What a good rugby league forward Steve Herbert has been, just as his dad Norman was at Workington. Jones, Gibson, trying to show his attacking guys again, and Gibson, this long raking run of his, they do find him hard to stop. Cairns will kick. Little chip left footer, good catch from Dane O'Hara. Who's hardly seen the ball.
Yes, players taking part in the middle and on the outside on the other way from Dane, but nonetheless he's played his part as well as captain of the side.
Oh, and Black has gone down on the halfway line. Not quite sure what happened to him, but he's prostrate. Coleman, Pearce, good ball. Nolan just struggling over the halfway line as we await the hooter. Which will signal the end of an extremely lively half. Coleman's kick comes off a Salford pair of hands into Shaw's hands. Blacker's back in it, although he's supposed to have hurt his shoulder. Seconds left as the ball is slipped, and slipped very well too, and Salford coming looking before half-time. What a time it would be for them. Oh, and Herbert sells an outrageous dummy, goes down the outside. Hardly any time at all left, and Hull will know that. Shaw, and again Sharp was steaming up to make the tackle on Cairns, still gets away, throws it back, misses the hooker. Jones tries to kick for touch, and it's bouncing towards that line. Oh, it's just crept over. Well, that's the perfect kick.
Well, it was a perfect kick because Salford had made a mistake in attack. The ball had gone backwards, and Ken Jones, realising that, wanted to bring play back into the half.
But it was right on the whistle, and unfortunately for Salford, so an unusual start to the second half, and a penalty going straight away to Hull. I think Kevin Ashcroft will have had a word in the dressing room about any more indiscipline like the one that cost them a penalty.
That's right, because Salford are playing quite well. They're playing some good football. They are stretching a Hull defence, but Hull have matched virtually everything they had and taken their opportunity as well. And I suppose if you take your opportunities, you deserve to be in the lead. So the boot of Gary Pearce paying dividends again.
some ways he's been one of the less heralded rugby union signings, but he's certainly been a good acquisition for Hull.
Well, he's taken his time to settle down, but he kicks well, he distributes the ball well as well, and I'm sure now with Brian Smith there as well, he'll start to learn what the game is all about, and he'll be able to contribute even more.
Coleman. Seen a lot of him so far in the game, Craig Coleman. Perhaps look to him for something in the second half. Here he's in possession again now, and a long ball flung out to Pearce. He was caught immediately by Horrow. Andy Dunnett on the last tackle now for Hull. It's Windley, and the kick is from Coleman, and a good take by Ken Jones. Sprightly little runner who's had such a good career in rugby league, first of all with Swinton and then here. So the scrums in the first half went Hull's way, 5-3, but Salford won the only one to go against the head. That's significant, and Hull conceded one more penalty than Salford, but the errors in play equal. Half a dozen of one, half a dozen of t'other. Salford have a lot of fellas who can kick, and that was Brown, and a good catch again from Dane O'Hara, who comes in field. Doesn't get as many tries as he used to do in Hull's glory years. He's only got 3 this season, but Dane O'Hara, solid rugby league professional. Pearce going for the gap. Wilby, a storming run. Tim Wilby gets the ball inside for Windley. Well, that was the running of a centre, which is exactly what Tim Wilby used to be in his Leeds days. Now in his second spell at Hull, and on the last tackle, will Hull try and throw it around again? Will Gary Pearce go for a drop goal? Coleman, Moon was coming up, and a fine tackle. Tim Wilby ran really strongly then.
He did. I thought perhaps he might have gone on being a second row forward a little further to draw the defence in before throwing out his pass.
Now here's a running chance for Keith Bentley down this left-hand touch line. Caught by John Sharp. Cairns and Shaw, and they created the gap there for Horrow to run into. Now, it's got to be tackled, and he loses the ball, but fortunately for Salford, it's picked up by one of their own, Jones. That was clever play from the 2 halfbacks again. They've a good understanding, Paul Shaw and David Cairns, but not much understanding there, and Gary Devorty managed to profit from Mark Moran's mistake. And relief that Hull badly needed then.
That's right, Cairns is playing well now. They say he's not as fast as he used to be, but he does distribute the ball well, and Mark Horrow at loose forward has run straight on 1 or 2 occasions, and he has really split the Hull defence.
This is good passing again, and Moon fires it out there for Blacker. He's got O'Hara outside him, and O'Hara, well, then he fumbled it and managed to get his kick in, but the ball was going out. You've got to be tremendously fit to be a rugby league professional, and all the more remarkable, someone like Steve Herbert out there has played so long as a prop forward in this game. It's a testament to the fitness of the chaps.
That's right, it is a hard school, and there's no doubt in it. Every player has to be an athlete these days because the game is going so fast, it's virtually non-stop.
Shaw thought of the kick, dummied again, keeps fooling in that little ploy. Oh, but knocked back now, and Sharp picks up for Hull and goes for the gap. We've got a few handling errors, and Wilby He's got an appetite for work as Wilby today. So a Sharp here. Coleman and Pearce again, and that's a good ball for Gary Devorty. And it was unfortunate there that Moon just couldn't collect. Otherwise he might well have been a scorer. Horrow here, whose brother Shane plays on the wing, of course, for Castleford. Has turned out to be a good recruit for Salford.
Yes, he has, as most of the overseas players have. They've really adapted to our game well and given us a lot of our discipline that we have in the game.
Cairns weighed up his options, gave it to Herbert, and chances once more out there on the right, but they've had to come back in field basically because Hull's tackling is just so good. Their spotting is excellent.
It has, and both sides, when they have made breaks that have broken down the defences, have always put the last ball to ground.
Shaw. Once more, it was Adrian Bullock that time who was in, so he's learned his trade quickly. Only joined the club as a professional last week. Number 2 down here in your picture, Adrian Bullock. And, Moon, the ball went back. That's okay. He carries on. O'Hara has come in field from out on that left wing. I think he was getting a bit lonely out there. Coleman. Wilby. Brian Smith has obviously worked on a lot of moves with this whole side. They seem to know exactly what they're doing. There's Windley now. Oh, goes for a gap, and Windley did so well. And there's going to be a try for the substitute. And what a start for Rob Nolan. His first try in professional rugby league. What a good time for him to get it so far as Hull are concerned. And he takes the congratulations.
Well, Hull have persevered, they played a game plan, they've been tight. He sells a superb dummy, the defence stands off him here. David Keynes can't do anything, the man is running in front of them, and there's no doubting that's a very good try. Watch the way he picks it up, draws the defence in, throws out a dummy here and catches the defence, flat-footed. And Windley makes the gap, puts the ball through completely. Nolan takes the ball on the burst, as all true centres should, and crashes over for a super try.
Well, it's left Gary Pearce a very difficult angle, but he won't worry too much about that. Down by this right-hand touchline. An awkward kick for him to negotiate, and that's a beauty. Well, he really is one of the best kickers in rugby league.
Oh, he's a fine pedigree as far as goal kicking is concerned. His line kicking is good as well. And I'm sure Brian Smith has a lot to do with his bringing on in this game now, because he's looking a better player every time we see him.
Again Cairns, now Brown, looking to get that pass away. The two half-backs in unison once more. Mercer's finding it hard to find a gap, but got there in the end. Well, they've 25 minutes to get themselves back on the score sheet, and it's flicked on beautifully, in fact, there by Blease to Bentley. Bentley then has to beat his own man. He beat him, but not the whole cover. So, little Cairns again. Brown. Shaw's there, Cairns juggles, still holds on, and there have got to be chances here if he holds this pass. Oh, fine tackle though. As Mercer roared onto the pass, O'Hara came across to do the tackling. Here's Bragger trying to chip his way through, but straight into the hands of Blacker.
Well, it's desperate defence by Hull, but they are sticking to it manfully, and they are covering for each other every time a gap appears in a defence. Somebody comes in from another position and cuts it off, and that was classical stuff by Dana Hara. Left his wing, came in, stopped them short, and as a result, it means that Hull have got the ball back.
Sharp. Well taken, Gibson. He romps into the action. But Hull must be one of the hardest defences to break down in the entire league. They just do not give points away, and Salford are finding it very hard again to break them down.
Yes, they are. Castleford last week probably had one of the best attacking sides in the game. Just couldn't break down the Hull defence, and they really did hang out for 75% of the game. They've done the same the other day. They've just worn down Salford, I believe, and taken their opportunities.
And their tackling was good again there, but they are taking Tim Wilby off and bringing on Paul Wellham. Wilby's had a good game, and he gets a rich round of applause. So it's been a job well done for Hull over on that far side by Tim Wilby as he takes a rest. But Kevin Ashcroft here on the Salford side, just mulling it over in his mind what he can do to turn the course of the game. Brown puts the ball out of the ground. There's another one on the pitch already, and away we go again. Herbert. Smack into Steve Crooks. Brown timed that pass well, but there's no way through for Kerry. Time just beginning to run out for Salford. They need a score quickly. Oops, there's a little bit of housey father going on between Horrow and Crooks. Now they have a chance as Mercer gets the pass away. And that's a good one for Gibson. Out on the right touchline, Jones couldn't take it. There's a player stretched out on the halfway line. It's very, very rare they get these chances, and when they do, they've got to take them.
That's right, they move the ball out wide again here, and Gibson coming up fast on the outside. He knows it's a do-or-die effort, and he streaks outside, and Dana Hara now coming across. The long ball goes over. Ken Jones not equal to the task, loses it, and he goes into touch. Perhaps another chance lost, a little more frustration into Salford's play.
Which will give Salford the chance to bring on 19-year-old Jason O'Loughlin in place of Ian Bragger. Well, his dad Kevin was a very fine player of this game. Yes, you came across him a few times, David.
I most certainly did. The boy's got a fine pedigree, and it'll be interesting to see how he goes.
I've seen a lot of Ian Bragger actually today after his recent try-scoring burst. Straight swap, O'Loughlin's gone into the centre. Sharp for Hull. Still sharp for Hull. And he's got that one away for Wellham, but it was a forward pass, and it didn't need to be, really.
Well, that was so unfortunate, because he's played well as well. He's run and tackled everything that's moved. And it says much for the fitness of this Hull pack, because they really have won the game as far as Hull is concerned. They've done just about everything anyone could have expected them to do. Watch the way he comes onto it again, the burst, sees up, sidesteps inside, makes the break down the centre of the field, half held with a tackle, slips it away. Rather unfortunate, again, gun it around Shaw. The ball was adjudged forward by referee Holdsworth.
It's Hull just outside the Salford 25, looking for a clincher. Wilby's come back on as well. And Hull have got a penalty. Well, this is really going to give Gary Pearce the chance to clinch it now, as Dana Hara comes across to have words. The decision is to kick for goal, not surprisingly. Pearce has a 100% record in this game. It's 4 out of 4. And that, sure-footedly, is 5 out of 5. And the game is drifting beyond Salford as one or two of the home fans drift away. Salford side, anything for them at the end here. Shaw runs back into trouble. Well, these are worrying times for Salford as they continue their slide.
Well, how fortunes change. They won into the Lancashire Cup final at the beginning of the season, going really well in the top 6. Suddenly it's all come apart, losing last week. 5 league games, looks like 6 on the trot. Not the best position to be in.
Bentley, he'll keep trying. Can't get away from Windley's tackle though. And Windley has done well, Hull have done well. They've taken the points here at the Willows. The hooter sounds, and a solid performance indeed from Hull. It's much appreciated by their fans who've travelled from Humberside. There's another defeat for Salford and worrying times at the Willows. Just the 3 tries in the game. 2 of them went to Hull. Blacker in the first half, Nolan in the second. But once again, it's those 5 goals from Gary Pearce that have made the difference. Salford 6, Hull 18. Let's find out who the man of the match is now as we go to the Hull dressing room and David Watkins.
Jubilant Hull dressing room, continuing their fantastic run, their 9th consecutive victory in the league. It could have gone the man of the match award this afternoon to any one of 6 forwards. But for me, the Stones bit a man of the match award for leading the pack in the way he did, John Sharp. Well, you obviously enjoyed that. Another good win and a fine performance for the pack.
Yeah, like you said, excellent performance. You could have picked anybody from 6 in the pack, but we worked well together, a good team performance. And I think we run away with it.
Well, well done, John, and well done, Hull.
Cheers, David.
Well, continuing this remarkable run, Brian, you really turned the side around.
Oh, there's a lot of people been responsible for the way Hull are playing this year as compared to the last couple of seasons, but I think everybody in the club knows their responsibilities, including me. Hull's a great club and we've got to do a great job or it won't be satisfactory.
Well, Humberside will be delighted. Do you think this side is good enough now to go on and win the championship?
No.
Is that it in one word, or would you like to see them? I mean, obviously you're building for the future now at Hull anyway. You must be delighted with the way things have gone over the last few weeks.
I'm very pleased with the way everybody works in this club, but you asked me a straight question, I gave you a straight answer, because including today's performance and particularly after last week's loss to Cass, we all know we've got a lot of work to do if we want to win anything.
Well, congratulations. I hope things go well. It's good for rugby league when Humberside is back on top again, and the black and whites are most certainly on top.
And enjoying it very much, as you can see by the smiling faces.
Well done.
Thanks, David.
Time to look at the facts and figures behind. Back 2 tries as Great Britain complete the double over France. Jonathan Davies gets a try and 5 goals on his first full appearance for Widnes. And Peter Lister tips the 2nd Division's big clash Bramley's way with a try and 2 drop goals against Sheffield. Now the day's full results, starting with the Whitbread Trophy Test. France 8, Great Britain 30. This report from Nick Powell in Avignon.
Britain were 10-0 up in 4 minutes through tries from Hanley and Ford and a Leyden goal, but Andy Gregory then gifted Dumas an interception try. For a few minutes we wondered about an upset, but then Gregory made amends by sending in Peter Williams for a try in his first full international, and France were effectively out of it. Ford followed up his own kick ahead for his 2nd try, and Britain led 24 at half-time in the sunshine. Playing against the wind in the second half, Britain increased their lead when Hanley sent in Edwards, and their last try came from Alan Tate. Hugh Ratier did side through on his own for the best try of the match for France, But Britain, easy winners though they were, could have had an even bigger margin. Andy Gregory said afterwards, if we want to beat New Zealand in the autumn, we'll have to do better than this. Nonetheless, a record British win on French soil. France 8, Great Britain 30.
Now the rest of the day's results, beginning with the Stones Bitter Championship. Bradford Northern 30, Halifax 18. Hull Kingston Rovers 7, Warrington 17. Salford 6, Hull 18. Widnes 38, Oldham 14. The second division, Bramley 13, Sheffield Eagles 9. Carlisle 20, Keighley 4. Chorley Borough 10, Hunslet 13. Dewsbury 10, Whitehaven 12. Doncaster 48, Runcorn Highfield 12. Fulham 26, Mansfield Marksman 12. Huddersfield 1, York 17. Rochdale Hornets 12, Lee 50. Swinton 12, Barrow 31. And Workington Town 6, Batley 5. Well, that Widnes win, which included a hat-trick of tries by David Myers on his debut, took the champions to second place within a point of Castleford at the top of the championship. And Hull's victory kept them well in touch, for they have played more games than all the other teams. Even deeper trouble for Hull KR, Oldham and Halifax at the bottom. They all lost. Lee and Barrow are well clear at the top of Division 2, but Bramley's win over Sheffield keeps the race for the third promotion spot wide open.
Good evening.
Now, time to unmask the mystery man at the microphone. You've seen him in action already tonight, but in more familiar fashion. It's Hull forward Tim Wilby, who has his own show on Viking Radio, in company with Hull KR's former rugby union international, David Bishop.
After your game on Saturday, I lost a lot of your directors lost there.
Yes, and certainly Hull Royal Infirmary was very busy on Monday morning after the half-time score was announced.
Well, that's for sure, but as it goes, we're through to the next round and you're not. And what's the difference between Hull FC and a Tetley teabag?
I don't know, David.
Well, a Tetley teabag stays in the cup longer. Do tend to have a dig at each other, and I think that's the fun in the show, where everyone tunes in, and we've had a great response. It's new to me. I keep saying every week, which is my excuse, which is getting old now. I'm new at this, so I can't comment on this. But I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and having some good response.
There's only one problem so far with the Wilby Bishop double act. Their programme hasn't got a name. They're looking for ideas, though. Got any?
We've had a few names tossed around. Somebody's called it the Sin Bin and
Top Hat and Tails.
Top Hat and Tails and the Bishop's Preaching and Wilby's Weekly and all types of different names. But we're going to leave it to the viewers to decide.
OK. Well, any ideas? Gratefully received.
Yes, most definitely. I think it's a first for Rugby League, two players to do a bit of a St and Greavesy type thing in Rugby League, and I think it's only good for the game.
Well, next week we'll be showing you that Great Britain triumph in Avignon. We went to France with Malcolm Reilly and the boys. You can see our special report and full match highlights next Sunday. But today, Scramdown captured the continued resurgence of Hull. A young side with a big future. They're very much on the up. Good night.
Next week, Scrumdown will kick off at the slightly later time of 11:45.